Yo, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Neptunes Sunday. What's up, Vogue? How are you?
I'm doing great. Beyonce let her album out this week, so I'm feeling fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get into that,
Uh-huh.
this is the first time we're back together since we've been celebrating our year anniversary. So claps for you. Congrats to us. Appreciate all you have been doing with me on this journey. I appreciate it. It's been a lot going on, but we made it a year. It's crazy.
I'm super happy to be here. Thank you for taking me on this ride and cheers to year two. So,
I mean, a year, like the fact that we've done, this is episode 19.
right.
There's been a lot of different things happening in the Neptunes world, which we're going to get into in a second too. But yeah, I mean, a year of doing anything for a year, like straight up, is a big
Yeah.
deal. Like,
Yeah.
so
I just said we have real listeners. So exciting.
the fact that there's people out here who have followed the podcast, and like every time there's new listeners on the analytics for Spotify and Apple, I'm amazed. So thank y'all. Appreciate y'all listening. Some really cool guests and episodes and topics are planned for the next year, and hopefully the Pharrell and Chad and the Star Trek family can keep making moves and being in the space and making great music and being involved in the culture that we'll have something to talk about.
Absolutely. Everybody was talking about him yesterday, so we might as well jump right in. I mean, they always say whatever you want about me, at least you're talking.
Right. No press is bad press.
Right.
So let's get into it. Here we are.
My fave, my personal idol, Khalees. We got the exciting news, so we should probably start there. We got the exciting news that Khalees in some way was going to be featured on this new Beyonce album. We don't get a ton of Beyonce collabs with the Neptunes, so from what the sounds of it, she was going to be sampled, and that started off a flurry of texts between me and Vaughn. My friends were all hitting me up on Twitter like, did you hear? They know how hard I go for Khalees. Turns out the only person that didn't hear is Khalees.
Right. And so we want to make sure that we tell you guys, the audience, our loyal listeners, that once we knew that there was some kind of presence of Pharrell and Chad on the album, we plan to sit down and talk about their history together, expecting that we were going to have a brand new collab song for us to talk about as well.
Right.
But little did we know that it wasn't really a collab. It was just kind of a piece of something that stirred up a lot of controversy over the past couple of days here. And so we're just going to talk about it because we're fans of everyone involved and we want to make sure everybody's good. But
yeah,
it's going to give you our perspective, because we wouldn't be a podcast about the Neptunes if we did not talk about the family drama. Nobody wins when the family feuds, and boy, do we have a feud.
Hell of a way to kick off the new year, honestly. And yeah, I want to reiterate, I'm a big fan of all these people. I am Hive Beyonce fans, so we have nothing bad to say about our queen, and nothing bad really to say about Pharrell and Chad. It's just discussing what had happened. And so
tell them the story. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure. Khalees is alerted on Twitter. We start hearing rumblings about what song it's going to be. It was rumored to be Get Along With You, my favorite song by Khalees, which was really exciting. And when a fan tags her about this happening and says, like, this is a collaboration we all need, Khalees kind of like barks back and says that it's theft. So I think we all know, as Neptunes fans, there's been kind of a longstanding issue where Khalees feels that the situation between her and Chad and Pharrell was they went into a deal. They were all supposed to split the profits 3 ways. That didn't happen. And the whatever conversation that has ensued, we'll never know what it was, but whatever conversation that has or hasn't happened means that she ultimately did not get money for all of the work that she did. So she made very clear points to say that, this was not really even her beef with Beyonce. She does have some issues with Pharrell. And I think a good point to look at is that when you're mad at somebody, when you got beef with somebody, it doesn't take much, right? it doesn't take a lot to kind of set you off. She's gone through a lot personally. So I think there was a lot of reaction, but I'll say as a fan, I think that she has every right to defend her work and feel like she deserves to be, it's kind of like proper etiquette, right? And Beyonce's typically really good for that. She'll notify somebody about a word they said back in 2013, and she used that in a song. So it was kind of a surprise to me to even hear that Khalees had no idea. And, you know, she made a couple videos. She's looking great.
She looks
but
amazing.
Just kind of like expressing her, you know, displeasure with the whole deal.
Yeah. So
yeah,
overall, it's an unfortunate situation. It's a very uncomfortable situation for us as fans of all these people, right? Like, I don't really believe in the picking a side. Like, everyone has their place in it, right? So first off, I want to say love and grace to Khalees, right? Like, she, like we said, we're fans of her. She's a big part of, you know, what the Neptunes and Star Trek grew to be. She was there in the beginning and is a huge part of what it is now, the legacy. Absolutely. The OG family. I literally just tweeted a screenshot of the Get Along With You ending of the video with the picture. Like, it's the ending shot of Chad and Pusha and Malice and Pharrell and Khalees, and I'm just like, damn, like, shit was all good two days ago. Like, but back to what I was saying, love and grace to Khalees. Like, she's on the farm trying to get us to eat healthy food. She's doing her thing. She was on Masked Singer. Like, she's been out the way. She just lost her husband, which is, I'm sure she's still grieving about. But when, like you said, when you have beef and you have things that you are not happy about, it doesn't take much to set you off. And Khalees let the chopper sing. Like,
she did.
She let the chopper sing, called my man Chad an amoeba, said he has no spine. He can barely keep his head.
That one was rough. That was rough.
God damn, get the gunshots going, yo. Like, so that, you know, obviously when you're mad and you got shit built up, like, that just shows you how you tell people how you really feel about them. And so she didn't hold back. So, like, that definitely lends itself for us to believe, like, yo, there's beef.
Yeah. And to be fair, like, I don't really think that it's a matter of, I think I saw a lot of conversation on the internet about, like, you know, is this about money? And I think that she has an understanding. If you don't own your masters, you know, you don't own your masters.
Right.
I don't think we have to call her attention to that. I think it's more of a sign of respect, like I was saying. Like, just give me a heads up, ask to use my sound or whatever it is that we're using on this track. But I definitely think that in hearing the aforementioned track, it's kind of interesting how people are starting to feel about it in the aftermath.
Right. And she even changed her tone a bit after she heard it, right? Like, all the rumblings in the beginning was that it was a sample of her from a song. It wasn't even the song that people thought it was going to be. Then it turns out when you hear it, it's literally just an interpolation of Beyonce singing La 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 from, like, a little like short ditty from Milkshake, but it's background vocals too. And so, you know, to the one hand, like, in a best case scenario, like, I don't know a relationship between Khalees and B. It appears to be strained already before this. So maybe that's the reason why no one reaches out to her and says, hey, I'm going to do this very little small thing. But at the same time, in Beyonce's defense, you could say, hey, like, the fact that she even put her name on it, knowing that Khalees is not the owner of those published, like, she didn't have to do that. Like, she could have just given Pharrell and Chad there and then it'd be fine. Like, there's so many what ifs and so many, like, who did this and who did that. Like, it's all bad energy. It's bad juju. And I hate it. And I hate that we're having this conversation. And I hate that it puts us in a position where we got to make somebody the bad guy. But damn.
Yeah. I mean, I want y'all to know we were both stressed yesterday. I had to make a couple calls to get it off my chest and not put it on the internet. I mean, I definitely feel like after hearing the song, like, the song is energy. It's like track 5 on the album. It's a really good song. I had to listen to the song multiple times to hear the interpolations, a vocal interpolation, if you're getting technical, which basically means instead of using the direct sample from the music, they re-record it in some way. Whether it's production, interpolation, vocal interpolation. And so it's a dope song. And I felt like once I heard it, I was like, that felt like from Beyonce, like a big ups. Like, I'm not going to use something that sounds like your stuff without giving you some kind of nod. So, like, I appreciate that. And it's something that I think Beyonce has well established herself to do throughout her career, to be really cognizant of the people she's taking influence from and making sure they get the proper recognition. I would like, and this is not to say I want to reiterate that I have no idea what's going on between them. And it's not really my business to know. I would love understanding where their relationship started. It seems so positive and like a family relationship. And Khalees has confirmed that. So like I'm not pulling that out of thin air. I would like to see there be some kind of follow-up as to why she doesn't get her full publishing or the full money from the earnings from her songs. Even if the answer may be that Pharrell and Chad don't have any leeway here. Maybe
they might have no power.
They may be the greater record companies that own this music and they can't do anything about it. I think that often when you're silent, it makes you look complicit in it. So it would just be nice as a fan to have something rectified there. And like you said, like you hate to see people that you grew up loving and had a strong relationship fall out like that.
Right. That's the worst part for me. Why I say I hate it so much is because it's clear that there was some wrongdoing or some miscommunication or whatever, snake, whatever, music industry shady, y'all know that. But the problem is that without P and Chad or someone saying something, like it puts me in a position where I gotta defend those guys, and I gotta feel bad about defending them, because if they really snaked her, that's messed up. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm looking at the things that I'm presented, right? And I'm saying it's unfortunate that she got gassed up and then she was mad before she even heard the song. Like, that's really unfortunate. That makes the whole thing look way worse than it actually was. First of all, I didn't really know about the beef about the money until maybe like 2020. She was on a press run and she mentioned it. And I went back and looked at it, and she's quoted, and she says that she alludes to a bad deal, but she also alludes to the fact that she was specifically mad about sharing album sales, which if you're saying you didn't get any money from the sales, that's cool. That's a completely separate conversation from the internet world that's talking yesterday about percentages and splits of publishing and writing credits and who's listed as this. Like, that's a completely different conversation.
Right.
And even further, it was blown up, and now we're not even talking about a sample of a voice, right? Like, we're just talking about some words and a tune, a melody that you kind of sort of use in a song that you perform, but you don't have writing credits on it. Do we really know? Should you have writing credits on it? You say that Pharrell never wrote a word, but it's like, it's so complicated because all we can see is the business side of it that's in the open. We have no idea what happened behind closed doors 20 years ago. And that puts us in a bad position, because I'm looking at it and I say, okay, you say that Pharrell never wrote a word, but at the same time, there's songs that for anyone, and this is not necessarily her doing it, but what it led to it blowing up on the internet is people saying that they took all of this stuff from her. But there are songs that they made together, the three of them, that have all three of them credit on it.
Yeah.
The majority of them don't. So, I mean, we can only go on what is listed on the credits. So that's unfair to say like that's absolute, but it's all that we can see. So we're going against her word, against what's actually in the paper. You know, I also am uncomfortable with citing the legal side of it, because we know the law, people can interpret the law to do whatever they want. And as our people, that usually don't work in our favor. So I don't really want to call that. It's just overall, I come back to saying it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable for a lot of people, including us.
Yeah, you captured it perfectly. Like, I'm nobody's lawyer. I don't know the legalities. The only thing I will say about that is the obvious thing, which is you got a bunch of 19, 20 something year olds going into record deals. It's bad. People are bound to make mistakes. I think this is something that happens all the time in the hip hop community, that as fans, we talk about it a lot. You can get into the intentions behind behaviors, but the reality is it's just tricky. Music industry is difficult to navigate, especially for a young person. Like, we just got past a lot of the Megan Thee Stallion, the 1501 stuff. So it's still happening. It's not like a new thing. I hope they can resolve it in a way that like brings peace to everybody and everybody feels like they got their just due. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, it's just, it's unfortunate, and I feel bad, just because, I don't know, I just feel bad about the whole thing. It just makes me feel real, like, I don't know, man, like I feel bad because we're defending somebody who is accused of being a snake, but this is our guy though. And people are not perfect. Like and that's the other part that makes it so uncomfortable, is if he were to come up and just say like, yeah, man, we did a bad deal with her and we owe her some money and we're going to figure it out. Or like, oh, or even to come out and defend himself would make it an easier conversation for us. Right. Like,
it would make it easier.
But who are we? We're just two fans talking into a microphone on the internet, man. So
I want to say two things. Number one, Khalees, if I ever meet you, I'm on your side, boo. I want to just put that on record. But also, like, people on the internet gotta go easy. Like, we're saying clearly, like, that we're not lawyers, but neither are most of you. Like, I have a few people I follow who have worked in entertainment, work in entertainment law, yada yada. There was a lot of extrapolation of the situation yesterday that I felt was like really uncalled for. And especially for both Beyonce and Khalees, there were like some things said in both of those directions. I was like, this is not the right energy to come about this with.
Right.
Like, it just felt needless. And people say a lot of stuff when you're behind a keyboard. So
yeah, man. That's there's, depending on what side you took, people were saying some nasty stuff. And I think it's important. I think I mentioned, maybe I said this again, I don't know. We had already planned to do this episode before there was drama yesterday. As soon as we knew that there was some kind of presence of Pharrell and Chad on this album, which we had hoped and we expected and we're happy about, we planned to have this episode and talk about, which we're going to get into in a second, the greatness that Beyonce and Pharrell and Chad have made together over the years. We wish we had an actual song, a new song to talk about, but we don't. So instead, we just talked about this whole Khalees thing. But yeah, it's, hopefully they figure it out. Man, like, again, just want everybody to be good. There's so much shit going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if your listeners can tell. There's a nasally tone in my voice because I had COVID last week. So, like, we just need to be good to each other.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that was the biggest thing, and that was like gross about yesterday, is just like everyone's just being so mad and just like not being objective about it. Like,
yeah.
hey, I don't know nothing about it, man. P, if you owe him money, damn, you should try to figure that out. And please, damn, you gotta say my man is an amoeba, like all of that, like and then the Beehive was just like, well,
somebody who made it really clear that like she wasn't even really coming at Beyonce like that. So it's just like, y'all gotta relax, touch some grass, it's gonna be okay. Khalees's mother, Beyonce's mother, like, relax, everybody calm down.
Yeah, man. Hopefully everyone that listens followed me on Twitter and saw me tweet this morning about how I text Vogue yesterday and said the Bird app is not the place for nuanced conversation. Chill out. That's why we have a podcast. So here we are.
Ready to go, but I saved it all for just now, so you guys got the best of it.
Here we are. Okay, let's wrap that up. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So let's get into B.
Yeah.
So, like we mentioned, the main purpose of this episode was to talk about the collaborations between Pharrell, Chad, the Neptunes, and Beyonce, Giselle, Knowles Carter. Don't let me fuck that up. I'll be in trouble. but yeah, so there's a handful of them that people love and talk about a lot, and I think there's a couple other ones that hopefully will give you guys some insight on. But let's start off with talk about a couple of the Destiny's Child joints. So
one of the I didn't realize this until you put me on. Emotions was actually produced by
the Emotions remix. That's my joint.
And Nuclear, which is a song I hadn't heard before. I felt like I had heard that record, but Nuclear was something I was unfamiliar with. But I think more interestingly, Jay is kind of like the portal between Beyonce and the Neptunes, because he obviously has like a very strong relationship with Pharrell and Chad, and they work together tons of times. I don't think that I ever expect to hear a Jay project that doesn't have the Neptunes production on it. And so when they did the Everything Is Love album, there were a number of collabs. Ape Shit, Nice. There also was some production at the end of Liftoff, which was the one with Kanye. Do you have any thoughts about those songs?
So, back to Emotions Remix, I think Emotions Remix is an underrated part of the 2002 run that people don't necessarily mention a lot, which is surprising because it's Beyonce.
Yeah.
And then Nuclear was something I discovered later. I think it's got a up-tempo beat that kind of foreshadowed a little bit of the dance era that we're in, which is dope. And then, like you said, I definitely agree. Jay being the bridge between Pharrell and Chad to Beyonce. We talk about the Carter's album all the time, about how people sleep on it. Ape Shit and Nice, or like I love Nice. I talk about it all the time about how I have to rap Jay-Z's verse word for word, or I have to start the song over. But I think it's always funny when people don't realize about the ending part of the outro of Liftoff.
Yeah.
On the Watch the Throne album. Also, it's always interesting to me that people didn't realize or couldn't hear that if you listen to Beyonce's part on the whole song, like it literally, it sounds like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars wrote it, but like, and it was, I think there was talks about him actually singing it on there, but Beyonce sang it instead. But just the tone and like the way it's the way she sings it, it sounds like Bruno Mars. So, but yes, that's the intro. I mean, not that, the outro to Liftoff.
Yeah. It's interesting once you understand people's production, songwriting style. I mean, I would say the same thing for P as a songwriter. I can tell when a song is written by Pharrell because he has like a very particular tone and cadence and that kind of thing. So stuff like that I can usually pick up without being told that it's like a Neptunes influence track in some way.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm pretty sure this is the first collaboration between the Neptunes and Beyonce. The first song we're going to talk about is Work It Out from the Austin Powers Gold Member soundtrack. Actually, fun fact, last Friday, a week ago from today was, I just gave it away that it's not Sunday. No one cares. Last Friday was the 20th anniversary of the release of the Gold Member movie, which is cool. I just feel like overall, this song is slept on because people did not like the movie. Or people thought the movie was goofy, or Beyonce wasn't good in the movie. Like it's literally it's a goofy movie. Like it's supposed to be.
Like it's not supposed to be serious.
It's supposed to be stupid. And Beyonce, I think Beyonce did fine in it. But the song is amazing. Shout out to Chad, Blow Your Horn Now. Like one day we'll do an episode of all of our favorite Chad on the horn songs, and that's gonna be at close to the top of the list, if not at the top.
Oh, absolutely. I think this song in particular, but what is good about the Neptunes and Beyonce together is her ability allows them to like play. And so like you get the funky horns and you get to experiment. And I remember the song coming out. Yeah, we had to be in high school. And I really like, it's a really good song. It's a fun video. It's a good time.
Yeah, 2002. Yeah, it's got a great bridge too. It's got a great bridge, which is kind of one of the Neptunes are known for having really dope bridges in some of the songs. So okay, let's talk about Pink and White.
Pink and White's one of my favorites. Frank Ocean track that I think everybody knows is on his last project, Blonde. What I love about this song, and it's a weird thing to love, is that it's a creditless Beyonce feature. How many people can tell you that they get a Beyonce feature? She doesn't feature on anybody's songs. They feature on her songs. It's like Frank Ocean and Megan Thee Stallion. That's it. And I know that Frank has done some songwriting work for her. He did Superpower and another one that's name is not in my head right now. But she just adds a really wonderful element to this song. It's like it has this really ethereal feel to it. It's like the second or third track on this album. It's just like my happy place song.
Yeah, I really love that song a lot too. Shout out to Naima and Music Sermon. They did their Black Music Month in June, and I did a Neptunes version on Twitter. Yeah. This was my song for, I guess it was the day where a song that every run ad-lib vocalization. And I specifically said I know that for Beyonce's part at the end. And I really like, once I realized it was Beyonce, first of all, when I realized it was Neptunes, obviously thumbs up. But then I didn't realize until later that Beyonce was at the end until I saw a video on the internet of Frank Ocean's mom being interviewed, and they asked her to pick between Blonde and Channel Orange, and it was very hard for her, but she brought up the point of how Beyonce being on Pink and White makes it one of her favorite songs, and that's why she chose Blonde.
Oh yeah, I think that's funny. We have that in common. I know my landlords are tired of hearing me sing the end of this song. I actually have built-in extra runs. Everybody, I won't be doing them right here, but it's a good song.
So sticking with the Frank Ocean theme, our next song we're talking about Superpower. To me, one of my favorite songs on the self-titled album. I just remember the video being dope, having Kelly and Michelle in it. But yeah, I think that was a dope time for Frank Ocean where I was really getting into his music, and to hear him be, in addition to Channel Orange, be on Watch the Throne, be on the Jay-Z Ocean song, and then to be on this stuff was dope to me.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Frank's songwriting in general. I think he has a real different lens for music than other people do. This wasn't one of my favorite songs, but I think once I found out that he wrote it and that it was produced by the Neptunes, and of course that like built in a love for it. But that album all together is like probably let's say until yesterday, my favorite Beyonce album. And also on that album is Below, one of my all-time favorite Beyonce tracks produced by Pharrell. And I would actually say, you mentioned earlier that Nuclear may have been kind of like a early hearkening to like club and that kind of sound for Beyonce. But I would say this is like really the cultural marker of like, this is the style of music that Beyonce could possibly go into. And I remember when this album came out, one of the big notes they had about it, that it was like really sexually explorative for her, which is like, she was very, you know, for the kids, for everybody type of music. And she like kind of grew up on this album, which I think is important because like, I think that's a note that Pharrell also gets. Like, he's not super explicit. He's not super out there in that way. But as a songwriter on that track, I felt like he took some risks in a really like well done way. That's something that I really like about this song.
Blow is dope to me because simply from the fact that it's Pharrell and Timbo.
Yeah.
Which whenever you can have them collab in any kind of way is a win for me. You know, we represent Virginia on this side, so anytime those guys are together, it's dope. What other time that I can think of Pharrell sharing a beat like that? Just is completely random, but it was the remix to Burning Up by Faith Evans, and like,
ooh,
Missy was rapping on the remix with the Pharrell part, and then they switched to Freeway rapping on Just Blaze part. Amazing.
ooh.
Similar like energy, just the way that it transitions from the P track to Timbo is dope. And obviously the remix when Pharrell actually does one of the verses on there is amazing too. So rare collabs like that with Pharrell and Neptunes and Timbo are always amazing. On top of that, it's Beyonce. Got to put that on the list.
Absolutely.
So couple of themed pairs of songs here. Like the next song we're going to talk about is I Care. And this is actually not produced by Pharrell or the Neptunes. It's actually a writing credit to the one and only Chad Hugo, who wrote the song with B and Jeff Basker. I hope I pronounced his name right. And he actually played a little bit of guitar on the song. So shout out to Chad getting his writing on with the song. One of my favorite Beyonce songs. And I actually came to love this song even more. Just the energy that this song had in the Beachella performance. It was a moment. Because it wasn't like one of the songs where you do them in a row and you blend them with other songs. Like this song stood solo on its own. The drums banging in. It was amazing. So shout out to Chad. Co-writing on I Care.
Yeah, not one of my favorites. I'm really honest about that, but I will say over time, and especially in live performances, it definitely has grown on me. And having that little tidbit of knowledge about it definitely adds to like the appeal. It's a strong song. It's not. I think that's one of like my lesser Beyonce albums. That's why I struggle with some of the tracks on there.
That's on 4, right?
Yeah, not my.
You don't like 4? I like my Witch Call is one of my favorite songs. Countdown's one of my favorite Beyonce songs ever.
I don't. It's here. The only album I like less than 4 is I Am Sasha Fierce. You know, me and Beyonce went through a thing for a little bit. I'm fully indoctrinated in the theology of Beyonce now, but I had a rough couple of years. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Look and see what else is on 4 that you're hating on, because. I don't know. I feel that.
A lot of facts for that, so it's not just you.
Okay, let me look at Love on Top, Party, Countdown.
How can you be mad at Love on Top? How can you be mad at Love on Top?
Dance for You, I Care.
I do like Dance.
1+1.
Oof, yeah.
End of Time.
What's the last one you said?
End of Time.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I like it better than I Am Sasha Fierce. It's just not my favorite album. You know, I'm more of a. So funny enough, I'm more of a pop bee. I'm more of a pop girl. So when she gets into her like disco funk, which she does a lot with the Neptunes, that's where I am. But when we get into the ballads, I'm like, I'm gonna go take a lunch break.
End of Time is amazing.
I do like that song. I like the songs. They're just not my favorites. I got a lot of favorite Beyonce.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
digress.
One of the greatest Beyonce songs of all time, Kitty Cat. Also important, why I brought up the fact that Jay-Z is the bridge in between Beyonce and the Neptunes. Jay was a songwriter on Kitty Cat. Kitty Cat is a B-Stan favorite. It's something that she doesn't perform these songs from B-Day a lot, which we're all really sad about, but it's just like super funky. It has jazz and soul influences, and it's a fun song. It actually is kind of like a song kissing this guy off. So I think it's very funny that Jay wrote on it. But I feel like it's one of the first times, it's definitely not the first time, but it's one of the first times you see Beyonce kind of play around with rapping. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
almost positive that Jay probably wrote that part. Got
Yeah,
diamonds on my
man.
neck, got diamonds on my records.
To me, this is the best Neptunes and B collab.
Yes.
To me, B-Day is my favorite Beyonce album.
Yes. That's a great note.
Yeah, like this is my favorite Beyonce album because I grew up, obviously, as you can imagine, with me being a person that's going to start a podcast about the Neptunes, that I grew up paying attention to who the producers were. And so when this album came out in 2006, like, first of all, Deja Vu was a smash. I remember performing that at the BET Awards. Like, Deja Vu was everywhere in 2006. But this was a time when you had a big album and you brought out the big guns, the super producers, and that was a big deal. So Swizzy has 4 on here: Check Up On It, Ring the Alarm, Give Me Body, Upgrade You. You got 2 Hove features on here. Dark Child did Deja Vu. Rich Harrison was on fire, had Freakum Dress, and Sugar Mama. Like even the cast that made Irreplaceable, the Stargate cats, had like 3 bangers back to back with like that the Chris Brown joint, and what was that Chris Brown song? And I Miss You Boo. I was in the air. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't know the name of the song
either. I know exactly what song you're talking about.
Shout out to Chris Brown, man. Virginia gets the money.
No.
I literally was
comment.
Chris Brown. Yo, I can't believe this man is charging people $1,000 to come take pictures of him before the concert, and people are paying that.
I can believe it.
As my man Pusha and Malice so eloquently told the world, Virginia is for hustlers, and if that ain't hustling, $1,000 for a picture, like we go together, that I'm a post on the gram and then get framed and put in my living room, like, huh? $1,000 for that?
Time and time again, Chris Brown has proven to me that he's from Virginia. I'm saying on that.
But anyway, back to what we were saying, and I mentioned, okay, I said everyone: Swizzy, Darkchild, Rich Harrison, and the Stargate, whatever they were called. And then Neptunes had 2. It was only fitting. At the time, they had to have 1 or 2 on there, which was, 06 was an important year for them. We talked about, that was In My Mind year, which we just celebrated the anniversary of that this past Monday.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was definitely part of the moment in that time, and then being on that list, like Pharrell's like, I'm not getting left off this one. Like, just like he told Jay about Black Album, like I gotta get my movie shit on this. So,
and the catalog between Beyonce, MP, and the Neptunes is kind of small, but I feel like all of the songs are special. Even the songs that aren't necessarily my favorite, like they all have something special about them.
Right.
And it's nice to see like these 2 powerhouses come together and like really make a moment every time they get together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I have a question for you. This is just this is not in our show notes.
Here we go.
Because like a lot of these songs have like a feature or a writer that's also an artist. If Beyonce and the Neptunes work together again, who would you want to be that special extra element in that song? I have an answer.
I was about to be an asshole and say Khalees. I guess I am an asshole. I just said it.
Woo, wow, that's actually good. You know what I would love, and I don't know why he's my answer for everything today. I answered another question with this answer, but I would love to see the Neptunes, Beyonce, and Anderson .Paak.
I like that a lot. Anderson, he's really like, first of all, like I said this on the episode about Something in the Water. Are we saying it wrong if we say Pac? Should we be saying Pac?
Ooh, don't get me to line.
You guys know who we're talking about. But that's my guy. Like, I love all of his music that's come out. And Khalees wasn't my answer. Let me actually answer the question. So Beyonce and the Neptunes with a feature from somebody. Beyonce and the Neptunes featuring Andre 3000.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I love that answer.
Anytime we can get him out of retirement, man, like that'd be dope.
I kind of like his whole thing about just like walking around town talking to people.
I think his energy, it would be hopefully it'd be something upbeat, right? Get him to just, like I would love him to get something with them and bring his like green light energy. You know what I'm talking about? John Legend joint.
Yeah, give me green light. I mean, I'm thinking about Party.
Yeah, even that too. Yes, that same energy. Yes, that's.
I would love another Beyonce in Under 3000, but produced by the Neptunes. That would be dope.
All right, what's your other question?
That's it.
I thought you said you had another question.
Nah, that was it. I wanted to know what you thought.
All right, guys. Well, the moral of the story is just be nice. Be nice. Just be nice on the internet. Be nice in your relationships with your family, friends, and coworkers. You know, music business is just shady, and business and friends like.
You want to know something? I think the real moral of the story is if you can't be nice, be quiet.
That is also that is
about everything.
That is very true. If you can't be nice, be quiet. And maybe that's why Pharrell and Chad are being quiet.
Ooh, things to think about, guys.
And on that note, this ends another episode of Neptune Sunday. Your boy V Moss and Vogue here. Appreciate everybody listening. Got some good stuff coming up for you for the rest of the year. Make sure you go check out my episode I did with my boy Ron P. Ron P is part of I think a series of a couple episodes we're having in the next couple weeks here that are really with some people that have been in the crates in terms of pulling out a bunch of unreleased and stuff that people haven't heard. So just stay tuned to that. If you're interested into the B-sides, into the unreleased stuff that you might have never heard, go listen to the episode and then stay tuned for a couple other ones we got coming up. There's a big month in August, big anniversary coming in August. Stay tuned, a lot going on. If you know what I'm talking about, just know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it.
I think you can figure it out because it's Vaughn.
It's a lot going on in August. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for August to celebrate that anniversary. Again, we made it a year. We appreciate you guys listening. So peace and love. Catch you next Neptune Sunday.
Bye, guys. Go dance to Beyonce.
You won't break my soul.